I want to come to the kind of the tougher part of the journey now and kind of coming closer to the present day, right? So, what were the breaking points in this journey that you realized in the last few months where you said that, look, things are probably not unfolding as per the goals that you had set out? Was it runway? Was it customer traction? Was it operating issues? Yeah,
It's never one thing,
yeah.
but uh, mainly I think looking back, building a product management focused only company as a venture scale outcome was not a good decision. So that's what I shared in the LinkedIn post, and I tried to tell everyone that it's a very good product. Like I have talked to 20 competitors. I had 4 calls yesterday. I had last week where people who have been competition to us have reached out learning that why did I, because we were doing good. We were going. So why did I shut down? And while there are certain internal reasons, the major part was it would have gotten stuck at 4 or 5 million ARR, where which is that death valley where you're surviving. We could have survived. We had money. We could have survived way longer, 2 3 years more, without even external fundraise, and we could have made it profitable, bootstrap. Was that a venture scale outcome? Is the question. And I think when you're starting a company, we don't think about venture scale initially, at least. At least I have. I was like I told you, I was at Fast Me event. I talked to a few more companies since last 2 3 weeks, and I get that whenever I touch upon it, I realize that it's missing, which is how do you, so in USA, for example, currently to go public, you need 300, 400 million ARR. So forget you not being able to go public, and if your goal is to build a company and get a exit, even then you need a decent 100, 200 million exit. First of all, 100, 200 million exits are very rare. It's not like every day happening. But for example, this is one thing I would touch upon. This is a bit deviation from the original question, but very important for India US founder. A lot of people have asked me and said that you have a team in India, it will get, uh, you sell it to some bigger company. And we talked, we had like 10 M&A discussions fall apart because our engineering team was in India. Now, no one thinks about it when you are starting up, but if your entire engineering team is in India, only big tech companies like first of all, the narrative that people like to have a cheap dev shop in India is over. That's not the case. So the people want in-person working team where they can work with and not remote collaboration. Only big tech companies like Microsoft, Amazon, which are very big and they are requiring for operational efficiency, they build a team in India. I cannot take names, but you can imagine top 10 companies which are in the product management space. We talked to them. They were like, oh, if your team was in Bay Area, we would have done it. If your team was, and other companies which were in Europe, they're like, the navigation, Indian laws, compliance, we do not want to disrupt our current roadmap and focus on taking care of that. So we are not going to acquire. So, and also the laws are not very, immigration laws are not very favorable that you will give option to your engineers to shift to USA or something like that. So anyway, I was just touching on that as a separate note that why even 100, 200 million M&A, if you're thinking, might not happen because if you build your entire team in India. So if you reach 100, 200 million, maybe that's good, but I'm just saying. So current ARR is at 5 to 8x of your revenue, right? So in order to get a 100 million exit, we need to be at 10, 15 million ARR minimum growing at 20%. Now, when you do all those calculation and take your ACV and take all other competitions, none of them is doing 10 million. No company in product like in our space was doing 10 million except product board, but that has been declining and they have been stagnant for a while. No other company is doing that. So imagine how hard it is. And this is where I started to see the sign of struggle, and I wanted to make sure that if I'm not going to deliver the venture expectation, it's better to start something which could be venture scale, or mm, at least not waste your team's time, give false hope to investors, and waste it.
And then did you consider any kind of any sorts of pivots even into adjacent areas? And with AI now, there are a lot of new opportunities, new verticals, new categories opening up. And I mean, Zeta is kind of had been at the forefront in the product management space. So there's a lot of institutional knowledge, I'm sure, even within your head and in the company's head. Was that ever an option?
So we did evaluate in product management phase, and actually we pivoted from platform to AI. We were the first to do it. So that was definitely there. But from PM to other space, we thought a lot about it, we saw it. But there are multiple things to be taken into consideration. One was, and again, there are things which cannot be shared on the podcast, but there are internal reasons within the team, investors, co-founder, where you need to get conviction as well as support. And the second thing is, uh, when you're pivoting, you need to get a hard evidence. Like if you're just going to try from one idea to other idea, I think that's a waste of investors' money. Like then you are just taking money to just experiment your way out. But we could not find any hard signal in our data or industry that if not this, then what else is working? Because we were seeing every product management startup which came out in YC, Europe, India, what they are doing. Is there any new angle? Is there any growth angle? Is there something which is getting big? But in this category, we couldn't see. In other categories, yes. But like I said, then you are going to start a new company from scratch in that case. Like your branding need to change, your everything need to change. And I think in that case, uh, one was it something I wanted to build a company to solve the customer this problem, this persona, this pain point. Something else which I have not conviction about, which I don't have a passion about, just to stay as a founder. That oh, I'm a founder, I want to continue. I didn't wanted to do that thing. Uh, Both from my perspective and my team investors' perspective. So I thought it's better to take this to, again, in retrospect, this could be a wrong decision, but uh, I told one of my investors who asked me to keep the money and keep on ideating. I was like, I'll just return this money, take some time, think about it, and start again. If in that time you feel that that idea is good, you will reinvest it. So let's keep that relationship rather than me having that pressure that I have to figure out something in 6 months.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is all so valuable. I mean, nobody talks about these things. These are the behind the scenes that happen in most startups. I mean, it's most startups fail. That's the reality of our ecosystem.
I think mostly uh, I can tell you most it's about keeping a good image. If you don't keep that good image, you might lose investment, you might lose confidence of your team, you might lose confidence of your investors. You have built that strong go get a founder image, and now if you tell that, oh, you don't know something, everything can go away. And it does in some cases.
Yeah. No, I think my kind of learnings and 2 cents on this has been, I think one, I think the most important thing for all of us as founders, as investors, is time. And the
Yeah.
moment the founder kind of gets evidence and enough information that the founder's view on the market changes or something happens that they lose conviction, that's kind of the time to cut your losses because everyone wants to move on. And this is everyone signs up for this being a very high risk, high failure rate game. So you need to conserve time to be able to try out and give more shots at the goal. And second is, I think, intellectual honesty. I think I'm glad that you kind of took that view on pivots as well, because I think those incremental pivots are the worst, right? So it has to be a hard pivot, but then the hard pivot also has to be, it can't be just for the heck of it. It has to be backed by a very intellectually honest view of why are we going in this direction. And typically, in my experience, those pivots they come out very organically.
Exactly. You are able to see some data, some signal, because of which you are like, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. No, of course, a few things did not work, but I think a lot of things worked for Zeta as well in this journey. What are the top three things that you really feel worked well, and which I think other kind of US India founders listening to this can take away from as playbooks, as insights, learnings, approaches, anything personal, professional, anything.
I think community and brand it really did because trust me, if you see the LinkedIn post, it has 100,000 impressions, and I have been getting so many messages where people have been like, we never thought Veda will go out. Like they're like, we have been following your journey for 4 years, 5 years, and since the day you started and ping on LinkedIn, etc. Because like I said, I had been talking to community a lot. They're like, did not expect this, but people who have not even worked, not even invested, just they had been silent observers. They ping. And recently, I was applying to a job, and someone was like, uh, and I pinged someone for referral, and he was like, sure, man, I'll refer you. By the way, I have been following your journey for 4 years, and sorry to hear with Seda, but you did it great. So that's a very reassuring feeling where uh, people who have no incentive, they found it. And we were able to really work with probably top people in the product management community. If you see any I I couldn't imagine myself to be sharing a stage with Marty Kagan. We partnered with him. We partnered with Dan Olson. We partnered with Shivi, Merrily, Mikdar, like Ka- Kylo from product school. He always has been supportive. Like these people, I think, were really helpful. Other thing which played part was team. I think yes, we had hiring mistakes. We m- missed out certain places, but there were few hires who till the end were there. Like, they did not leave the company till we asked them to leave the company. So that was very powerful. And even I think when we decided to end the chapter and we gave severance for them to figure out, and we were following regularly, did you get a job? Do you need any help? And for at least 3 months, we kept 2, 3 months we kept on getting, we are waiting for you to start again. And we're like, dude, we are not starting again. Just find a job. So I think that was very powerful, where we could rely on people with admin access, everything for team played very well. Third was definitely like product works. Like the problem we intended to solve currently also works. If someone signs up and try out Veda, and it might be outdated because we haven't updated anything in 3 months, but the premise of the problem that hey, we will help you listen to customers on scale, convert them into Jira tickets and track the progress works. It's just that was it a venture scale or not is a separate question. But the problem and the premise fit well, and that works.
No, I think, what I'm kind of taking away from your journey is the importance of relationships, right? Relationships with customers, with your team, right? I mean, people kind of literally being there, until the kind of end of the road.